and welcome back to my channel. I'm Helen and today I'm going to be sharing my TBR for the Believathon. So I am so excited for the Believathon, I cannot wait. The Believathon is a 2-week-long readathon hosted by the amazing Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. I will link his channel and his original announcement video down below. Essentially, the point of it is to read middle grade children's books. And I love middle grade so much. I kind of rediscovered them last year when I did the original Believathon, which was in November and a month-long readathon. And I rediscovered my love for them. I discovered how amazing they were, these magical worlds that were conjured up. I went back to some old favourites and discovered some new. It was one of the best months of last year and I discovered so many amazing books. So I of course had to do the 2-week-long Believathon, which begins on the 11th of May and ends on the 24th of May. And in it, we are going to the land of Make-Believathon. There we have to perform various quests, i.e. prompts, and get to the bookkeeper's stronghold. I'm actually using Believathon this year to manage to finally read a whole series that my family have been trying to get me to read for years. My parents love this series and have been trying to get me to read it since I was about 7, so I'm going to finally do it and read the whole thing. I have read the first book in this series before but never got any further than that.
This isn't true, I've actually read the first and half of the second book in this series, I just forgot while I was filming this.
I never read the second, third or fourth book, so I cannot wait to read them and discover this world that my family is so ecstatic about. So the first prompt is The Poacher's Pocket Inn. Read the first book in a series. And for this I will be starting the Dalemark Quartet by Diana Wynne Jones by reading Carton Quidder. The Dalemark Quartet is a series entirely set in Dalemark, a fictional country that I believe is meant to be around the place that Denmark is. Carton Quidder, from what I remember, is about a group of travelling players who are travelling between North and South Dalemark, two places that are deeply divided and share a huge amount of distrust for each other. The distrust is kind of doubled by the political manoeuvrings of each side, as well as the number of spies and the amount of espionage going on each side of the divide. So in Carton Quidder we follow this family of players as they discover that the father is rather more involved in the espionage than they previously thought. Suddenly a mysterious passenger joins them and they get sucked into this really dark world. And there also are a lot of questions about the instrument that one of the characters, Moral, has that seems rather more magical than it originally appears. I loved this book when I read it first. It's really short, it's really easy to read, and the world Diana Wynne Jones creates in it is absolutely wonderful. I cannot wait to return to it. The second prompt for Believathon is Baba Yaga's House. Read a book featuring family relationships. For this, I'm going to be reading Drowned Amit by Diana Wynne Jones, the second book in the Dalemark Quartet. This is about a young man called Mitt who wishes to be a freedom fighter. However, something goes horribly wrong and he is forced out on the run. When on the run, he comes across this family who, from what I can gather, don't seem to like each other very much, and all 4 of them end up going off on this journey across land and predominantly sea. The next book in the series is The Spellcoats by Diana Wynne Jones. This is for the prompt 100 Acre Wood. Read a book with yellow on the cover. As you can see, this cover is incredibly yellow. The Spellcoats is set hundreds and hundreds of years before the rest of the series and essentially, I think, reveals the history of the world it is set in. It also, I think, ties up a few of the mysteries that have been lingering from books 1 and 2. It's about a group of siblings who are forced to run away from home after the village turns against them, and the role one of them must play in destroying this strange creature that has appeared and emerged in Dalemark. And then finally we have The Brolly Rail. Read a book about transportation. And for this I will be reading The Crown of Dalemark by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the final book in the series. And this is once again about Mitt, the main character of Drowned Amit. I am not going to be reading the blurb because I think it might spoil stuff for earlier on in the series. However, I know this book involves a lot of trains and I believe it involves another plot gone wrong, and I cannot wait to read it. Then finally we come to the Bookkeeper's Stronghold, and the prompt for this is read the next book in a series. And I have 2 books that I can't decide between, so I'm going to read both of them because they're both very short and they're both books set in worlds that I really like. So the first is The Tombs of Atuan, which is book 2 of the Earthsea Quartet. The Tombs of Atuan is based around the same character as the first book, A Wizard of Earthsea, which follows Ged, a young man who goes to magic school, however, while there inadvertently awakens some ancient evil. I believe The Tombs of Atuan is set in tombs, hence the name, and I think it might be rather darker than book 1 from what I can gather. Book 1 gave me a really good introduction to the world, and I'm really excited to see it expand and develop in book 2. And then finally, the other book that I might read for the Bookkeeper's Stronghold is Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales by Anna James. This is book 2 in the Pages & Co series, and in it we follow Tilly, who lives in Pages & Co, an amazing bookstore that has many hints of magic, including the fact that most of her family have the ability to go in and out of books. So Tilly, in book 1, kind of discovered this ability and was forced to discover some secrets about her past, and I assume book 2 will continue the story, as well as possibly having something to do with fairy tales. So those are the 6 books I'm hoping to read for Believathon. I know there's only 5 prompts, but as I've said, I couldn't decide between the final 2. Please let me know what books you're hoping to read for Believathon if you're planning on doing it, and please let me know if you've read any of these, what you thought, or if any of them sound interesting to you. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in my next one. Bye!